Joey does what he says he never would do. He pardons his crackhead, criminal, treasonous son, Hunter. Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, Kuhner man is back from a much-needed mini vacation. Had a wonderful Thanksgiving break. And look at this, huh? Kuhner man decides to take a couple of days off, get a little of much-needed, some much-needed R&R, and again, all hell breaks loose. So, do you remember this? Oh, man, this has been at least a year. How many press conferences Joe Biden gave? How many interviews he gave? How many times, again and again, he repeatedly said, under no conditions, no circumstances, none whatsoever, will I pardon my son, Hunter Biden. To even say that is to be a conspiracy theorist pushing and peddling, again, his words, misinformation. Yep. As he said once, I give you my word as a Biden. As a Biden, I will never pardon Hunter. Well, that was then, and this is now. Yesterday, in a move that sent shockwaves all across official Washington, Joe Biden did what he said he never would do. He pardoned Hunter Biden. And my friends, it wasn't just a pardon for the gun charges and the tax evasion charges, which, remember, Hunter was found guilty of. On the gun charges, guilty on 3 felony counts. On the tax fraud, tax evasion charges, remember, he didn't pay over $1.6 million in taxes. And that was just between 2016 and 2019. While he was spending millions of dollars on escorts, pricey, high-priced prostitutes, luxury hotels, gallivanting around the world. I'm not kidding. Sex clubs, you name it, Hunter Biden did it. And yet, when it came to not paying taxes, there was Hunter. He pled guilty. And he pled guilty to the tax evasion charges because they didn't want all the sordid, embarrassing information of how he was spending money like a drunken sailor and how he was able to get the kind of money, accrue the kind of money. Because that's the obvious question. If you're spending millions and millions and millions, what the hell did you do to get that money? It goes back to Burisma. It goes back to being the bagman for the Biden crime family. All roads lead to Joey. And so, rather than face sentencing on December 12th for the gun charges, December 16th for the tax evasion charges, which would have meant decades in jail, Joe Biden, I'm just going by media reports, made a decision over the weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. He was now going to break his vow, break his promise, lie. He's a liar. He lied. And he lied to us repeatedly. And he pardoned his degenerate criminal son. Now, it wasn't just a pardon. This is to everybody, you need to hear this. This is, as I said on X last night, this is the culminating act of a corrupt, treasonous Biden crime family. This, in some ways, is a fitting capstone to the most corrupt, worst president we have ever had in American history. It doesn't just pardon Hunter Biden's gun crimes and tax crimes. No. It is a blanket pardon, a full and complete pardon for everything Hunter did. In fact, I'll read later in the show, I'll read to you from the pardon itself. And you'll see how sweeping it is. It's going to blow your mind. I'm paraphrasing it. It's a pardon, blanket pardon, for everything Hunter Biden has done, did, may have done, starting January 1st, 2014, all the way to yesterday, December 1st, 2024. He can't pardon anything into the future. He can only pardon right up to the present. And so, in essence, it is a 10-plus year pardon. And what is unique about 2014? What is unique about the early part of 2014? Jeff. Why the gun charges were in 2018, Jeff. The tax evasion was 2016 to 2019, Jeff. Why does Joey have to go all the way back to January 1st, 2014, when Biden was then vice president? And the point man, for Ukraine and China. Because that's when Hunter Biden began to sit on the board of Burisma. That's when he was getting his millions and millions of dollars as the bagman for the Biden crime family on Ukraine. Tens of millions as the bagman for the Biden crime family on China. All of the bribery, all of the influence peddling, all of the corruption, all of the pay to play that has enriched the Biden crime family to the tune of literally hundreds of millions of dollars. That all began on January 1st, 2014. That's why he picked that date. And so, my friends, he didn't just pardon Hunter Biden. No. Joe Biden essentially pardoned himself. Because now he thinks his son is scot clear. His son now will walk away unscathed, untouched. Forget the tax crimes. Forget the gun charges. That was small potatoes. He thinks now, I've shielded my son, and more importantly, myself and the rest of the crime family, from future investigations regarding Burisma, influence peddling, bribery, China, pay to play, selling out our foreign policy to foreign governments and foreign entities around the world. But they've made a fatal miscalculation. My friends, I'm telling you, this is going to blow up in Biden's face. It is such naked corruption, this abuse of the pardon power. Not just for his son, who's clearly a criminal. And by the way, they keep going on, just as a quick aside, I have to say this. My son has now been sober 5.5 years, Joey claimed in his pardon statement. Every time you look at Hunter Biden, the guy looks coked to the gill. I'm serious. Every time you see the guy, he looks wired and stoned with his crazy eyes. Like high on something. I don't know if he's sniffing Parmesan cheese off the floor again. Whatever it is, this is not a clean and sober man. So another lie, on top of another lie, on top of another lie. But my friends, this is the bigger point. There are still congressional investigations going on. And Hunter Biden has refused to testify in front of all of these congressional committees on the grounds of invoking the Fifth Amendment. In other words, on the grounds of against self-incrimination. Now, by being pardoned, he no longer has the right nor the ability to invoke the Fifth. Well, I'm not going to testify on the grounds of the Fifth. Well, you've been pardoned. So there's no case hanging over you. You've got to talk. Now, if the Republicans want, and Trump apparently wants, if they now want to really investigate Burisma, Ukraine, the Biden crime family's influence peddling and bribery schemes, now Hunter is going to be forced to testify. And if he doesn't, that's obstruction of justice, my friends. Contempt of Congress, my friends. That's going to lead to new charges. And this time, Daddy won't be able to bail him out. For how many years have we heard the Democrats say, no one is above the law? They said it about Trump again and again and again, as they launched bogus lawfare case after bogus lawfare case against him. And yet, look at the hypocrites the Democrats are. Hunter Biden has always been above the law. Joe Biden has always been above the law. The Biden crime family has always been above the law. And with this pardon, Joe Biden now confirms everything we said about him and his corrupt family is 1,000% true. 619 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you want to know why Joe Biden pardoned Hunter after he said repeatedly, ad nauseum, and not just Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, the Minister of Propaganda, the White House, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times publicly. My word is a Biden. I will not pardon my son. Okay. You want to know why he pardoned Hunter yesterday? Here it is. Rudy Giuliani on X. This is what he said about the stunning pardon yesterday by Joey regarding his son, Hunter. Joe Biden, who will not even meet with his granddaughter, Navy, didn't pardon his son because he's a good father. He did so because, as his son admits on the hard drive of the laptop, for 30 years, Hunter has given half the millions he has collected to the boss of the crime family, Joe Biden. As I said in my opening monologue, this is about protecting Joe. It has nothing to do with, as he said in his pardon statement, as a father, I had no other choice. I love my son. No, you love your own rear end. That's what you love. And protecting your own rear end. Now, I just want to give you a taste, okay? A taste of the lies that, again, the Biden crime family inflicted upon the American people. This was Biden, and I got tons of cuts here. I'm just going to play you one. It's almost funny if I just took 15 minutes and just played cut after cut after cut after cut. Like, okay, that's him 2 years ago. That's him a year ago. That's him. Apparently, 3 weeks ago, November 7th, Karine Jean-Pierre came out and said, why do you keep asking us? The answer is no. Joey will never pardon his son Hunter. Right. This is Biden at a previous press conference. And this is after the jury decision. This was earlier this year, June, I believe, in which they found Hunter guilty on 3 felony counts of illegal gun possession and lying on the form. Remember, that's when he said he never used drugs, when, of course, the guy was snorting half of Colombia up his nose. So he had never used drugs as he was filling out that form to get his gun. The jury said guilty, guilty, guilty. And this is what Biden assured the American people. Roll cut 2, Mike.
You're going through something that so many American families go through, the intersection of addiction and the criminal justice system, but you're not like most families. Was your son able to get a fair trial? Do you believe the Justice Department operated independently of politics?
With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
You lying piece of you-know-what. You lying piece of garbage. You really are a disgrace, honestly. Honestly, to the White House, to the country. You're just the corruption, the brazen, in-your-face, blank you corruption. And this is really blank you. Well, now he may be hoist on his own petard, as they say. Because now, if the Republicans really want to get him, all they have to do now is just subpoena Hunter and say, no, you're going to testify under oath about what you did at Burisma, what you did with China, and what did your father know and when did he know it. And this time, unlike in the past, Hunter cannot invoke the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. He literally can't. So either he says I comply or I don't comply. And if he doesn't comply, my friends, that's contempt. That's contempt of Congress. That's obstruction of justice. That sets up a whole new bevy of new charges. And this time, he can't weasel his way out of it. Daddy can't pardon you this time. Now, two very quick points, and then I promise I want to open it up to the phone lines. 617-266-6868 is the number. Colonel Douglas McGregor, who I trust, I think he's got very, very good sources. He's been absolutely perceptive and accurate on the war in Ukraine and many other issues, has come out and said he's got a source within the White House that he trusts impeccably, that apparently is leaking, saying that at their Thanksgiving dinner, Hunter Biden, and this is the kind of sleazeball family they are, Hunter came out and said he's going to write a tell-all book. A tell-all book about everything he did, particularly regarding Burisma, Ukraine, China, the bribery, the influence peddling, the corruption, all of it, the whole kit and caboodle. And that's when Joe Biden said, you know what? You're getting a pardon. The second big development, Kash Patel. Kash Patel. Incredibly, all of my prayers were answered. I'm telling you, Christmas came early this year for the Kuhner man. Donald Trump has nominated Kash Patel to be the next FBI director. Kash Patel says he's going to hunt the Bidens down.
Will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Yeah, well, that was until last night. 6:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. What do you make of Joe Biden's pardon of Hunter Biden? And more specifically, that it was a blanket pardon from January 2014 all the way to December 1st, 2024, i.e. yesterday. And it covers everything under the sun. Anything he did, anything he may have did, anything he may have not have done. I'm not kidding. Everything, i.e. Burisma, Ukraine, China, everything is covered. Kash Patel. God bless Trump for picking Kash Patel. Kash Patel, the next FBI director, has now said he is not just going to clean out the FBI and the deep state, but he is now going to go right after the Biden crime family, and he will hunt them down. Kash Patel now says he is going to find out and get to the bottom of what the Bidens did and how they sold access and enriched themselves to the tune of millions of dollars while Joe Biden was in power. If they want to go after Hunter, he can no longer invoke or plead the fifth. So, Biden may think he's protecting his son, but in many ways, he's just opened the door. If the Republicans in Congress and the Kash Patel FBI want to go after Hunter and the entire criminal gang. 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. All right, Eddie, you're going to kick us off. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome. Eddie? Eddie in Boston. Go ahead, Eddie. All right, I think Eddie maybe is getting a coffee or something. Denise in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Denise, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Good. How are you, Denise?
You know what, Jeff? My heart is just pounding right now. First of all, I'd like to say something about Kash Patel. I'm so happy. Oh, my God, I love that man. I'm so happy he picked that man. But otherwise, the Trump, I'm nervous, so don't get. I'm just so upset that they pardoned him. I can't believe his father. He lied about it and then pardoned this man. There's so many men in prison for less things that he ever did, like my son did for 10 years. And I went through hell. Okay, those prisons don't feed you well, but they inhumanely treat you terribly. Okay, so I'm beside myself. The Republicans should have done something about Biden and the charisma and the treason of our country. They should have impeached him months ago. All right, Biden should have never been allowed to pardon this man. He's a piece of crap, Jeff. And there's all these people sitting in prison that's got less crimes than what he did. And I hope they get him come home, because I'm writing a letter to Mar-a-Lago. I got his address last night. And I'm writing a letter to Trump. I want all the January 6 people out, and I want the people with nonviolent gun charges out of jail.
Well, Denise, look, I got to tell you, and this is what I said on X last night, that to me now, this pardon, they're going to rue the day. I'm telling you. See, the Democrats are cheering on social media. Again, that's how stupid they are. Good for you, Joe. Good for you. Right. So they love this pardon. I swear to you, the media is praising this pardon. The same media, by the way, Denise, that said, oh, Joey will never pardon his son. No, he's a man of his word. Hey, he gave us his word as a Biden. And now the same ones that said he never would pardon are now saying, good for Joe that he pardoned him. Good for you, Joe. Let me tell you why this is going to blow up in their face, Denise. You trust me on this, okay? Remember, I called the election. I said it for, I don't know how long. I said, Trump's going to win. Trump's going to win. He's going to win in a big victory. I was proven right. Mark my words, because I know Kash Patel. And I know now the people that he's going to be assembling along with Pam Bondi. So I know the team that is now ready to come in. What they just did is they have now cleared the path for Trump to pardon practically every J6er. Okay, if maybe the BLM Antifa people won't get pardoned, but outside of that, 99.9% of the J6ers are now going to get pardoned. Because if you're going to pardon a real criminal, a traitor, and that's what he is, a traitor like Hunter Biden, then I'm sorry, there's no excuse not to pardon the J6ers. So the J6ers now are going to come home. That's number one. Number two, in a way, by pardoning Hunter, and this is the key, he goes back to January. I'll read later in the show, I promise. I'm going to read exactly from the pardon statement. It's shocking. He insists that the pardons begin January 1st, 2014. Now, it's obvious he's covering his family's rear end on Ukraine, on Burisma, on China, on the oligarchs, on the bribery, on the influence peddling. That's what this is all about. So this is now confirmed that everything we said about the Bidens was true. If Kash Patel wants to finish off the Bidens, he can. If Kash Patel, and I believe he is very serious, wants to launch a real all-out investigation into the criminal, treasonous behavior in our government, he can go after the Bidens, and there's nothing they can do about it. Because a pardon is really only given for an actual crime, for an actual conviction. I believe this pardon was illegal. He can pardon his son on the gun and tax charges. He has the power to do that. But you can't just give a blanket pardon. Or this vague pardon on what? There are no charges against him. If Kash Patel wants to really expose everything the Bidens did and break this thing wide open, they've just opened the door. I mean, they've opened the door for Patel. They've opened the door for the congressional Republicans. They've opened the door for everybody who wants to see Hunter Biden face justice and Joe Biden and his entire corrupt family. So, Denise, I'm telling you, it's disgusting what he did. But by doing what he did, we now know beyond a shadow of a doubt, everything we said about the Bidens is true. Final word to you, Denise.
Jeff, I don't know. I'm so upset because my son did 10 years, and I don't understand why this man can get away with all this stuff. You know what I mean? There's so many people. I'm so, upset. I didn't know what a parent has to go through. You have no idea. I just want that man to get the time that everybody else got. It's not right. Just not.
Well, look, his days are numbered. I'm telling you, he's going to go behind bars. He's not. They think he's gotten away with it. He hasn't. He hasn't. Denise, if I'm getting too personal, please tell me, is your son still in jail?
Oh, no. He's been out almost, good 3 years now, and he's doing great. He's
Good
doing excellent. He's clean. He's doing unbelievable. I'm so proud of him. You have no idea. But Jeff, the treatment in those places, they don't treat you for your sicknesses or nothing. I'm telling you, it's terrible in there. And what I had to do and to fight for even his Hep C treatment. And they didn't want to.
I know the hell you went through. Believe me, Denise, believe me, I know. Believe me, I know. I'm just happy your son is doing well. He's out. He's clean. He's sober. That's all that matters now, Denise. And you're right. This is deeply unfair. Deeply, grossly, disgustingly unfair. And I don't want to speak for Kash Patel. Okay. I mean, Kash Patel is his own man. But let me tell you something. Kash Patel is a righteous man. Kash Patel is a man of honor. This is turning his stomach. Now, we can't do anything until he gets in. He's got to be confirmed. But with Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Donald Trump, I believe in the end, we will get justice. The Bidens are not going to get away with this. He is going to serve time, and he's going to serve a long sentence. A long sentence. And it's not just going to be for drugs and guns. It's going to be for much more serious crimes. Denise, God bless you. Please give my best to your son. 617-266-6868. Okay, you just heard Denise, her son, on drug charges, nonviolent drug charges, 10 years in prison. For Hunter Biden, nothing. And we have him on tape. Buying drugs, doing drugs, selling drugs, sex trafficking, by the way. And now he's pardoned on everything, according to Joe Biden, and he's going to walk away scot-free. Is Biden above the law? Your calls next. 649 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. 617-266-6868. Okay, Joey does it. honestly, I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, I pretty much saw this coming. I think many people did. But to do it in such a, just such a brazen, corrupt way, this blanket pardon for, for Hunter, all the way back to January 1st, 2014, for anything he may have done. Not just the gun and tax charges. What convictions? What charges? The gun and tax convictions. No. Everything and anything. For 10 years, you're covered, son. Blanket pardon. Ay. My friends, he's protecting himself. He's protecting his crime family. This is self-dealing. This is a massive conflict of interest. And I'm telling you, Republicans need, and God willing, with Kash Patel as the next FBI director, they will investigate. 617-266-6868. Eddie in Boston. Do we have Eddie? Eddie, thanks for holding and welcome.
Eddie is here, Kuhner. Thank you so much. And as you know, this is no surprise. We know how this corrupt Biden is, and there's no way he would ever allow Hunter to go to jail. If the Republicans had put a quarter of the effort that they put in on the other side to get Trump with all those charges and trials that they put him through, there's no way that Biden would ever have the opportunity to be in office and to throw this mess in our face, showing that they really don't care about what the law is. They don't care about any of these things that they keep calling normalcy. So those things they don't care about. And it sounds like that pardon reads the same way as that blanket immunity that Hunter was trying to get through in front of that judge.
Bingo. Genius. Eddie, genius. You nailed it. It was that sweetheart plea deal. See, look, Eddie, Joe Biden, Dementia Joe, tries to make the argument in his pardon statement. He goes, well, I'm pardoning him. And the reason why I'm pardoning him, this is what Biden says, is he says, because my son has been unfairly targeted by Biden's own Justice Department, if you can believe this. So he says, no, my own Justice Department unfairly, selectively went after Hunter Biden. And they only went after him because he was my son. That was the only reason why. They wanted to get to me by going after my son. And I'm reading this and I'm like, you're right. The Department of Justice was selectively protecting your son. Wasn't selectively going after your son. Your son got preferential treatment because he got that sweetheart plea deal. That sweetheart plea deal, as you rightly point out, Eddie, that was a blanket immunity for everything he had done, everything he will do into the future. It was so outrageous that the judge in Delaware said, are you people insane? Who the hell signed off on this? This is unheard of. And now, through this pardon, it's that immunity deal through the back door. Or at least that's what they think. Eddie, I want to ask you this, because this is now taken off like wildfire among Republicans, among the Trump team, among people very close to Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, the next Attorney General, that this decision now for a blanket pardon, they say opens the door to now put Hunter under oath in front of Congress, in front of the FBI, in front of the DOJ, and they can now thoroughly investigate Ukraine and Burisma. And if he invokes the Fifth Amendment, he can't because he's been pardoned. So if he doesn't comply, he's facing obstruction charges, contempt of Congress. In other words, a whole new set of charges. And this time, his father can't bail him out. What say you, Eddie?
That's not going to happen. The Republicans or the Unity Party has no guts to do anything like that. If they do that, they will also reveal themselves to be part of this corruption. So that's not going to happen. The best we can expect is if Cash gets in, Cash will put out a report because he won't be able to go after any of those people to prosecute them. I'm not expecting anything more than what's going on now. The Unity Party is going to protect itself.
Interesting. Eddie, thank you very, very much for that call. Look, that to me now, that confirmation hearing now for Kash Patel has taken on, I mean, it was going to be very contentious. The Democrats and the rhinos, you thought they went nuts over Matt Gaetz. They're losing their minds over Kash Patel. You can feel the fear. You can feel it. Dirty career FBI agents, hacks within the anti-Trumpers, that viper's nest within the DOJ and the FBI. Comey is petrified he's going to go to jail. McCabe is petrified he's going to go to jail. Peter Strzok is petrified he's going to go to jail. I mean, you've got all these deep staters now running for cover, fearing that Kash Patel is going to be the next FBI director. And even if he just does half of what he says he wants to do, I mean, the deep state is going to get hammered and people are going to go to prison. As I said on X, the choice of Kash Patel to be the next director of the FBI is a declaration of war by Trump against the deep state. I mean, this guy, look, his latest book is called Government Gangsters. And he singles out top people in the FBI and the DOJ who he says committed crime after crime after crime and need to be held accountable. So he says James Comey needs to be put behind bars. Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok. Remember, it was Kash Patel that really uncovered the Russia collusion hoax. He's the guy. He and Devin Nunes were the two that really blew the whistle on that. So Patel knows where the bodies are buried, and he wants to get them. So again, we'll see what happens. But all I'm saying is this. If Kash Patel really wants to expose the corruption, Joe Biden now is, I mean, he's now, what Joe Biden has done, he's confirmed everything that we said. If his son was innocent on Burisma, you wouldn't need this blanket pardon. If his son was innocent on Ukraine and on bribery and on influence peddling, you wouldn't need this blanket pardon. So what essentially this pardon means is that Hunter Biden was the linchpin of the Biden crime family. He was the guy Joe Biden relied on to bring in the checks. And as Giuliani said, all you got to do is look at that laptop and you see that half of what Hunter brought in went to the boss, the old man, Joey himself. I mean, it's all there. Will they have the guts to pursue it? We shall see. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Dave in Pennsylvania, our Western Pennsylvania correspondent. Dave, how are you?
Good, Jeff. A lot of my thunder was stolen, but that's okay. And I want to wish you, Sandy, who's not there, a happy Thanksgiving. And, Mike, too, the great producer there. So how was your Thanksgiving, Jeff?
It was very nice, very restful. Spent some time with the family. And then, Dave, forgive me. Mike and I were talking yesterday, and I said, Mike, can you believe it? Trump picked Kash Patel. Christmas came early for me, Dave. It's a sensational pick. It is electrified MAGA. I am so looking forward to Kash Patel. Heads are going to roll, Dave.
After this pardoning, Jeff, I mean, when somebody gives their word, Jeff, and then they don't, and then they pardon somebody like that, That's just pure lies and evil, Jeff. I mean, we knew KJP was done, and thank God, what's her name there? The girl from New Hampshire is going to be up there for Trump's press secretary.
Caroline Levitt. Caroline Levitt.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I forgot her name. But, yeah, Jeff, so, hey, you know, I had a great Thanksgiving. I was around some liberal nieces and nephews on my wife's side because I live here in Pennsylvania, Jeff. But, yeah, you could hear a pin drop, Jeff, you know, which was nice. And, you know, nobody dared talk about politics because I said, Uncle David's putting you in your place here. Close your mouth. It's better to be thought of as a fool than to open one's mouth and move all doubt. But no, Jeff, I want to tell you something over the year. I'm getting an early Christmas present this year. Christmas Eve here in Pittsburgh, a friend of mine, Danny Yarbrough, he's in the Marine Corps with me in Desert Storm. I haven't seen him in 31 years, Jeff. But I'm going to be seeing him on Christmas Eve. He's coming to Pittsburgh, and that's going to be, other than me being a Christian and my beautiful boys from my first wife being born, this is a great Christmas present, Jeff. I'm going to get to see one of my battle buddies from the Marine Corps on Christmas Eve, and I want to thank God for giving me the ability to see my brothers again.
God bless you, Dave. God bless you, my friend. Dave, buddy, before I let you go, my friend, were you shocked when you found out the news yesterday that Biden hadn't just pardoned Hunter, but that it was a blanket, complete, full pardon going all the way back to January 1st, 2014?
Jeff, so here's the thing. I'm not surprised. And, you know, a bear does his duty in the woods and a bird chirps. So you know it was going to happen. I mean, my word is to Biden. Yeah. His word don't mean jack squat and Jack left town, to quote Dan Bongino, Jeff. But I know, hey, listen, Jeff, thank you for making me your Western PA correspondent. And McCormick won, by the way, official before the holiday. He won. And now, Jeff, let's rock the world, buddy.
You delivered, Dave. I'm telling you, your guys delivered. Pennsylvania for Trump and Pennsylvania for McCormick. Dave, thank you, my friend, and please give my best to everyone in your family, and I'm very happy you had a great Thanksgiving. God bless you, Dave. Thank you for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so Dave says he's not surprised. To me, let me be perfectly candid. I knew he was going to pardon his son. Everybody knows Biden is a liar. But when you read the pardon statement, this is what strikes, this is what really stands out for me. He keeps going on about how unfairly my son has been treated. And how, Biden's own Justice Department, selectively went after my son. But you never said that during the trial. You never said that after the jury verdict. You never came out and said, oh, these are all bogus charges against my son. My son is being unfairly targeted. No, you said, I abide by the decision. I respect the rule of law. I will not pardon my son. So if you were so bothered by the prosecution of your son for the gun charges, why did you say nothing? If you were so bothered by the prosecution of your son on the tax fraud charges, why did you say nothing? So you kept insisting, after he was convicted on the gun charges, after he pled guilty months later to tax evasion, and again, $1.6 million. And that's just during those 3 years, 2016 to 2019. They didn't want to go further back because they wanted to protect Joe Biden. Because there were millions and millions more in unpaid taxes. But that would have raised the question, how did Hunter get the money? How did he get all this revenue, all this income? And that would have led straight to guess who? The old man, Joey, the big guy. The big guy. And so they cut it off at 2016. Even then, $1.6 million in unpaid taxes. He pled guilty. Joey didn't say a word. He didn't come out and say, oh, this is a witch hunt against my son. No, I'm not going to pardon. And now, after Kamala loses, and you guys couldn't rig this election this time, and you start looking at Trump, and he's starting to see Tulsi Gabbard as the head of the next director of national intelligence, and Pam Bondi as the next attorney general, And then, of course, I'm telling you, this is what really forced his hand. Trump, over the weekend, came out with the bombshell pick. Kash Patel as the next FBI director. And that's when Joey said, my God, we're all going to go down. This guy is going to war. Trump is going after not just the deep state, he's going after the swamp, he's going after the uniparty, he's going to go after all the corruption. This guy's going to come for me and my family. And the weak link is Hunter. Pardon Hunter to protect me and everyone else. And here we are. From the same party and the same media who kept telling us over and over and over again, no one is above the law. Hunter Biden is above the law. Joey is above the law. The Bidens are above the law. And now the whole world can see it. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Vince in Deutschland, in Germany. Go ahead, Vince.
How you doing, Jeff? Top of the morning to you.
Great to hear from you, Vince. Tell me, what are they saying in Germany, Vince?
Well, I don't know. They always talk about the Ukraine. They're talking about 800,000 German troops going to the Ukraine.
Whoa.
But Jeff, my question to you is this. Who's going to be pardoned next? And I've got A, B, and C. Is it going to be A, Obama, B, Hillary Clinton, or C, Alejandro Mayorkas? What do you think, Jeff?
Oh, Vince, I'm telling you, man, you're always ahead of the curve. He's going to have to pardon a lot of people. You're right, Vince. He's got to be very careful now, because you're right. This is not Bill Barr that Trump is bringing in. This isn't Jeff Sessions that he's bringing in. His second term looks to be very different than his first term. I mean, this is a dream team, an all-star cabinet, and they're headhunters. In the best sense of the word. I mean, Vince, all kidding aside, look, the deep state is very powerful. You know that. They have tremendous support in the establishment, the uniparty, Republicans, Democrats. But, I mean, these are serious people that want to take on the deep state. He's bringing in top-notch people who are, these are, and is the Godfather a war consigliere? These are war consiglieres. I mean, they're ready to go to war with Trump against the deep state. And I think Biden knows that. Vince, I'm just curious, if you were a betting man, who do you think he pardons next?
I think he's going to pardon everybody in his family, to include his brother. I think it's very real possibility he cuts a deal with Kamala. He steps down days before the inauguration, and she pardons him. But before he leaves office, he pardons her. That's what I think. I think it's very possible that he doesn't pardon Obama because he wants to stick it to Obama for what he did in terms of undermining him with the Democratic Party. I think that is a possibility.
Interesting. Well, Vince, all I've been reading about the last couple of weeks is how in private, Joe and Jill, Joe Biden and Jill Biden, can't stand the Obamas for launching that coup against Joe Biden and forcing him off the ticket and replacing him with Kamala. And I mean, there's a real hatred now, a real grudge. So I think you're onto something, Vince. He may pardon a lot of people, but he's not going to pardon Obama. He's going to let Obama twist in the wind. Vince, as always, thank you very, very much for that call. Look, he's on very thin ice. They were supposed to win this election. They didn't win this election. And now there's a lot of corruption to cover up. A lot. And I think Vince may be onto something. It's very hard to pardon yourself. So let Kamala do it. So he pardons Kamala, steps aside for a couple days. She becomes president, breaks the so-called glass ceiling, and then she pardons him for all of his crimes. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But with these gangsters, anything is possible. 617-266-6868. Let me ask all of you this question. The fact that Joe Biden pardoned Hunter yesterday, do you feel it is blatantly unfair? Is it truly a two-tier justice system in which the political elite, the swamp, the uniparty, their children, their families can commit any crimes under the sun? I'm talking literally treason, money laundering, which is what Ukraine is. Ukraine is just one big money laundering scheme. Bribery, kickbacks, influence peddling, selling out government policy. In Hunter's case, we're talking Russian prostitutes, drugs, dealing drugs, sex trafficking, human trafficking, caught on camera, caught on tape. You know, you heard Denise, her poor son, 10 years in prison for heroin use, whatever, non-violent drug crimes. This guy, caught red-handed on tape, nothing. Doesn't pay taxes, $1.6 million, nothing. Lying on gun forms, illegal gun possession. How many people have they thrown in jail just for illegal gun possession? Nothing. Because in the end, Daddy gave him a pardon. And the most amazing thing of all, the Democrats and the liberals are cheering it every step of the way. The media is celebrating it every step of the way. With this pardon, has Joe Biden completely disgraced himself? I say yes. It is the culminating act of the most corrupt, worst, lying president we've ever had. He's a piece of you-know-what. He's a POS. 720 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. In this case, Joe Biden's bull. And yesterday was the mother lode. Joe Biden, after saying hundreds of times that he will not pardon his son Hunter, guess what he did? He pardoned his son Hunter, and to add insult to injury, it wasn't just a straight pardon for the gun and tax convictions. It was a blanket, full, complete pardon all the way back January 1st, 2014. And if you remember, just about that time, about a couple weeks later, is when Hunter began to sit on the board of Burisma. And Shazam, what a coincidence, huh? What a coincidence. And he covers everything Hunter Biden may have done, may have committed, any crime under the sun, he says has now been pardoned. Let me ask you, Democrats say no one is above the law. Hunter Biden is above the law. Joe Biden is above the law. The Bidens are above the law. So why are liberals celebrating? This is a disgraceful pardon by a corrupt, disgraceful president. Agree, disagree. Dave in Gloucester. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Dave.
Jeff, I got a question. Is there a difference between sealing the records of people who've done issues and then getting pardoned? Because I got a situation. Every time I've gone for a job, years ago, Jeff, I went to court to try to get my past delinquencies, let's put it that way, sealed so I could get a job when I started trying to get a job. And they told me they was going to be sealed, but every time I've gone for different jobs, which I'm I'm still working the same job and everything. But every time I've gone for a job, they go to do a query check, and everything that I've done back in the day pops up on the query check. Wasn't that all supposed to be sealed when I went to get it sealed by the court?
In theory, yes.
So why does it keep popping up every time they do a query check? That's the thing.
Because,
so why should
Dave? I'm not trying to rile you up. I'm not trying to pull your leg or yank your chain or get you upset, because you're not Hunter Biden. I'm serious. You're not Hillary Clinton. I could run down the whole list of that's what this is. You're not the Pelosi's. You're not the McConnells. You're not connected. If you were politically connected, as George Carlin famously said, he said, it's a political club and you ain't in it. That's, Dave, in all honesty, that's why I've never understood these liberals, how they put their faith in politicians and bureaucrats. Because politicians and bureaucrats have never done anything for anybody except get themselves rich and more power and more control and more privilege and protect themselves and their children from the law. Stuff that destroys people like you and me. They cover up, suppress, pardon, commute, you name it. So in all honesty, Dave, the difference is if you had money and you could be a donor and put some money, say, in Maura Healey's pocket or in Elizabeth Warren's pocket or in Joe Biden's pocket, they would have cleansed that thing. Your record would be, it'd be as pure as the driven snow. And you'd have no problem getting any job that you want. In all honesty, Dave, the problem is you're a peasant. We're peasants. You're not part of the club. You're not part of the aristocracy. They think they're untouchable. And I got to say this, Dave, at least in the old days, they did it with a little bit more class, a little bit more discretion, a little bit more finesse. Now, it's right in our face. I mean, it's like, here, blank you, kiss it. Here's my middle finger, kiss it. I mean, that's what this is. This is just a slap in the face. So, that's the kind of contempt they have for us. But things are going to change. January 20th is coming, and there's going to be a new sheriff in town. But no, Dave, look, I feel really bad because I know I have members in my own family. People make mistakes. I understand that. I'm a Christian. I believe in redemption. People make mistakes, but they get better. They turn their lives around. They're genuinely changed human beings, transformed, changed human beings. And I believe everybody deserves a second chance. And they lord it over you, and they hang it over you, and it haunts you for the rest of your life. But these scumbag politicians and their kids, he's not even sorry. I bet you last night he went and did a line of coke. I'm serious. I guarantee you, to celebrate. I bet he did line after line after line. So they get away with murder. And a guy like you, a hardworking, decent man like you, and this record haunts you to this day. A final word to you, Dave. In fact, Dave, do me a favor. Please hang on. I want to come right back to you because we're up against the break. But this, I think, sums it up really well. Good guy like Dave made a mistake in his past, and he can't expunge that record. Hunter, it's all gone. 7:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just super quick before we go right back to Dave in Gloucester. Do you support Joe Biden's decision to give his criminal son, his treasonous crackhead criminal son, convicted criminal, by the way, pled guilty to tax evasion and convicted by a jury on multiple counts of gun felony charges? Do you agree with the decision to pardon Hunter Biden? And is it grossly unfair? Is it again reaffirming what we all know, that we live in a two-tier justice system? And when Democrats say no one is above the law, after they waged witch hunt after witch hunt after witch hunt against Trump for non-crimes, here they are pardoning a real criminal who's committed real serious crimes, i.e. Hunter. 617-266-6868. Okay, let's go right back to Dave in Gloucester. Dave had a criminal, has some kind of a record going back many, many years. He's tried to get it sealed. He's a changed man. He's reformed. He's got a great job. He provides for his family. He has a house. He pays taxes. He's a law-abiding citizen and has been for many, many years. Yet this record continues to haunt him. Dave, please, buddy, pick up where you left off.
Well, Jeff, the way I'm looking at it right now is that I know what I've done, and I'm doing the right thing, staying out of trouble, all that good stuff. But, Jeff, if he's going to pardon his crackhead son, then everybody who got locked up in January 6th should be pardoned also. And like you're saying, it's a two-tier system. These guys are innocent that are inside the dungeon right now. They should be getting out at the same time with this stupid pardon that he just gave his kid. And everybody knows what his kid's been doing, along with the computer, with his child pornography and everything else that's on the computer. And they say there's nothing here to see. And the January 6th did nothing except to try to stick up for the freedom and the humanity of the United States. And then the poor two women were beaten and shot and everything else. It's not right, Jeff. Something needs to be held accountable.
Dave, you're 1,000% correct. Not 100, 1,000% correct. And Dave, let me ask you this, because there's another angle to this, which is, remember, it was Joey who in the 1990s led the charge on the crime bill, okay, under Bill Clinton, the crime bill, that locked up countless young men, especially black men, but young men, for literally the same crimes that we can see Hunter committing on the freaking laptop. You possess marijuana, they throw you in jail. You possess cocaine, they threw you in jail. You deal small amounts of cocaine or marijuana, they throw you in jail. So tens of thousands of young men rotting behind bars. And, you know, you want to talk about a criminal record. That is really hard to escape from. Hard time, real hard time. For the very same crimes that his son committed again and again for years, hell, for decades. And it was all caught on camera, on video, on his laptop. How about a pardon for all of them? I mean, if you're going to pardon your crackhead son, why don't you pardon everybody else who's been convicted of a nonviolent drug offense? Am I wrong, Dave?
Nah, Jeff, you're not wrong. I look at it like this. If you're doing heroin and stuff like that, you know, there's an issue where they should be put someplace. But the ones who are dealing heroin a lot of heroin dealers get away with what they're dealing now. And Jeff, look at Mass and Cass, just for instance. All the drugs that they're doing down Mass and Cass, all the cockroaches coming back to Mass and Cass, and Jeff, half of them can't even stand up. So where they getting the fentanyl and everything else is shooting up their veins. I've seen it the way they're shooting it through their dungarees and stuff into the legs. It's like they're not doing nothing about it, Jeff.
It's a tragedy. It really is. And, you know, that fentanyl is coming right through that southern border. I mean, that's what's killing us. Dave, as always, thank you very much for that call. No, he's completely right. Dave is completely, on every count, he's completely right. In fact, that's what I said on X yesterday. I said, look, I'm sorry, but now he's cleared the path. Now, to me, there can be no longer any debate. No debate. If Joe Biden can pardon his criminal, treasonous son for real crimes, real convictions, then don't tell me Donald Trump can pardon the J6ers. I'm sorry. If Hunter gets a pardon, then the J6ers get a pardon. On day one, January 20th, bring them home. In fact, it is the poll question of the day. It's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Now that Joe Biden has pardoned his criminal son, Hunter, should Trump pardon all the J6ers? A, yes. B, no. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in National ER. You can also vote via X. Again, last night, very active on X. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHN as in National ER. Hopefully, Kuhner Country, many of you will vote. I'd love to hear from you. You know where I stand. I am an A, yes, baby, all the way. If Hunter, a real criminal who committed serious crimes, if Biden can pardon his ass, I'm sorry. The least President Trump can do is pardon, if not all, most of the January 6ers. Okay, let's leave it, the Antifa, BLM infiltrators. If they want to stay rot in jail, fine. I'm not going to argue for them. But in other words, 99% of the J6ers should be pardoned and come home. I'm sorry. If this is how the Democrats want to play, let's play. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868 is the number. Russ in Boston. Thanks for holding, Russ, and welcome.
Jeff, anyone who believes he would not pardon his son lives in fantasy land. Regardless of what happens down the road, the Biden crime family will never be incarcerated. They will remain above the law. If need be, the Biden crime family will go to another level of doing business. It's called state's evidence against other big fish. They will fry other big fish before they go down themselves. So they can never be trusted. Jeff, I'd like to make a suggestion. It's a suggestion that we can have a lot of fun with, okay? Would you have caps and T-shirts printed on them, "We love Kuhner Country" in a non-sexual way, and T-shirts with the same message, Jeff, and also with some other messages. And, Jeff, just think about it. You could give part of the proceeds to Tunnel to Towers. And believe me, I would order 6 caps myself and keep one for myself and give the others away as gifts.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Russ. Russ, buddy, I want to ask you, and everybody knows who you are, Russ, but let me just preface it because we always have new listeners literally every day. So you served 2 tours in Vietnam. You are an American patriot. There's no question about that, Russ. However, you are of Sicilian descent, ancestry, and you do go back to Sicily once in a while, to the old country, as they say. The reason why I'm saying this, are we seeing now in America, you mentioned the Biden crime family. Jeff, they're never going to be prosecuted. They're never going to go to jail. That's just how it is. It's almost like they're a form of political mafia or political gangsters. Are we starting to see a political mafia develop here in America, similar to what you've historically seen, say, in Sicily or in Milan or in parts of Italy, in which governments come and go, doesn't matter, wars come and go, but the mafia stays in Italy? Are we seeing something similar here, a political mafia that just refuses to go?
The answer is yes, but always remember one thing. Most government officials are corrupt in one form or another. Most of them are on the take. Without question, they're self-serving, power-hungry people, and most governments have the same problem, okay? Some to more of a degree than others. But yes, Jeff, honest to God, someone that believes in truth, justice, the American way, I constantly say this. I grew up in an honor-based society. I don't live in an honor-based society anymore, okay? Really. And it disgusts me more. And you know what disgusts me more than anything is how blind many people have been, especially here in Massachusetts. But thank God, this past election, a lot of Americans across the country have seen the light, how corrupt these SOBs are.
Russ, I couldn't have said it better myself. Truly, thank you very much for that call. Okay, Trump has released a message on this pardon by Joe Biden of Hunter Biden, and it's pretty much what I expected. He's blasted the decision, saying, and he's right, saying, I was the victim of countless witch hunts for non-crimes by the corrupt DOJ and FBI. This will now end with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. 7:51 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Okay, Sandy is off all of this week. She's on a much-needed vacation. So we're a little short-handed here at the Kuhner Report, but Mike is doing an outstanding job. And so Mike and I are just kind of, talking off air. And, and Mike asked a very, very good question. He said, Jeff, the pardon power, was it supposed to be abused like this? Do you know what I mean? Is this the way George Washington and the founders intended? No. That's what I was telling Mike. Look, our legal system, okay, to put it down into 20 seconds, our legal system is based on the premise that it is better for 100 guilty men and women to go free than for an innocent man to go to jail. Now, that's very different from most of the world. Most of the world, and in a way you can see it from their point of view, no, you get as many bad guys as possible. You don't let guilty people go free. What are you, nuts? A couple of innocent people get thrown in, well, that's life. So, that's how most of the world sees it. No, here, uniquely American, uniquely based on the Bill of Rights, on the rights of the individual, on checks and balances against overbearing government power. It's the opposite. No, it is better for 100 guilty men or women to go free than for one innocent person to go to jail. Because the rights of the individual are that sacred. And so it's part of that check and balance. Now, when they gave the pardon power to George Washington, or, John Adams, or Thomas Jefferson, or I could run down the list, it was for the most egregious, unjust sentences. Where you go, no, the person was clearly innocent and was railroaded. Truly an innocent man. Or an excessive punishment where you go, well, yeah, the person was guilty, but no, that was a political persecution. I'm telling you, the J6ers. Okay, the pardon power was almost invented. If you, in hindsight, they're probably looking ahead and say, no, yeah, grandma walking on the Capitol does not deserve 15 years in jail. That's insane. So it's for excessive punishments or to free genuinely innocent people. And I'm telling you, the pardon power, look it up. It's a pardon here. It's a pardon there. They were scarcely used. And for the most obvious cases, people would nod their head and go, no, that was really unfair what they did to that guy. Now, as I told Mike off air, I said it's a license to run a brothel. I'm telling you, it's a license now to run a whorehouse, a political whorehouse. You pardon your family, you pardon your corrupt son, you pardon your best friends, you pardon your biggest donors. It's criminal activity after blatant cry, I pardon you, I pardon you, I pardon you, I pardon you. And a lot of people now are going to be lining up for a pardon. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, people that visited Epstein Island, the Epstein list. They know now with Trump and Elon Musk on January 20th, that list is going to be released. So you've got a lot of very powerful people that are lining up at the door, telling Joe Biden, what you did for Hunter, I want you to do for me. And that's why I'm bringing it full circle to Kash Patel. Because Kash Patel has come out and said again and again and again, heads are going to roll. And people are going to go to jail. And as Trump said in his statement, the Department of Justice and the FBI are so corrupt and so compromised. They are the ones who led witch hunts against me and my supporters for non-crimes, literally non-crimes. This is the same FBI that targeted Catholic churches as breeding grounds for terrorism. Parents who complained in front of school boards. Who went after Trump's opponents. Their opponents went after Trump and his supporters. Who illegally spied on Trump, illegally spied on his campaign. Who lied about Russia collusion. Dirty FBI agents who lied about Russia collusion. And at the top, at the apex of that power structure, was the Obama crime family, the Biden crime family, the Clinton crime family, the oligarchs who run the Democratic Party, and the oligarchs who run the Rhino Republican establishment. And that's been the unholy alliance. And now Kash Patel has come out and said these days are over. And as Trump said yesterday in his statement regarding the pardon, this is such a grotesque abuse of power because Joe Biden is protecting himself, his illegal criminal activities in Ukraine, which has brought us to the brink of World War III, China, who we've sold out to the communist Chinese, and to other foreign governments and entities. And he goes, that's why I'm bringing in Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. I want massive investigations, real investigations. And I want people locked up. James Comey needs a pardon. Christopher Wray needs a pardon. Christopher Wray needs to answer why he went after the January 6ers and waged a jihad, violating their due process, violating their civil rights, leaving many of them rotting in jail for years with no charges? Are you kidding me? Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, the whole criminal gang. So they're lining up for pardons. Because as I said, there's a new sheriff in town and he's got some deputies. And they're saying it's time to put people behind bars and clean house. Overhaul the corrupt partisan FBI. In fact, don't even take my own word for it. Listen now to Kash Patel himself saying, if I was to ever lead the FBI, on day one, here's what I would do. Roll cut 3, Mike.
The biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
Now you know why they're in full panic. This guy that you just heard was on the weekend named by Trump to be his next pick to be the FBI director. And on Sunday night, this is no coincidence, Joe Biden said, I'm pardoning Hunter. Because now he won't have the FBI or the deep state to protect him or his criminal family. And that's why he said blanket pardon all the way back to January 1st, 2014. We're going to protect ourselves on Ukraine, on Burisma, on the money laundering, on the bribery, on the corruption, on the influence peddling, on China, on everything. Now, if they want to break them, they can break them. Not to beat a dead horse. All Kash Patel has to do once he's FBI director is subpoena Hunter Biden in an FBI investigation over influence peddling, money laundering, and bribery in Ukraine regarding Burisma. And Hunter Biden can no longer invoke the fifth. He's been pardoned. Legally, he cannot. Either he cooperates or he doesn't. And if he doesn't, you can nail him right there. Obstruction of justice and other crimes. If it's in front of Congress, contempt of Congress. And that'll open up a whole new batch of charges that this time Daddy can't bail you out from. So if the Republicans are serious, and in particular, if the Trump team, the Trump DOJ FBI team is serious about breaking the swamp, they can break the swamp. Because by this pardon, Biden has now exposed and confirmed what we all now know. They're dirty, corrupt to the core. And everything we said about them is 1,000% true. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Caroline in the great state of New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Caroline, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff, for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I was actually going to say that I think the whole reason why they pardoned him, I mean, Hunter Biden knows everything. He's the right-hand man of his dad, and he has been since day one. But the payoffs, the China deals, the Ukraine, the drugs, he probably knows whose coke was in the White House. He knows everything. So to pardon him, if he were to go to jail, they could use, all we have to do is hold a little bag of something in front of him and say, we need you to talk. And he knows everything on everybody, I would think. That's my assumption. And so by releasing him, and who's really running the White House? I mean, I don't think it's Biden. And so by releasing him, they kind of released themselves. But you just said that they could still take him in and question him about other crimes. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, Congress can continue its investigation into Burisma, into Ukraine, into money laundering. So can the FBI under Kash Patel and under Pam Bondi, the next Attorney General, assuming they're both confirmed. And they can call in, subpoena Hunter Biden. He must answer questions. So far, he's refused to answer questions on the grounds of invoking the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. The pardon now, that takes away that excuse. You can no longer hide behind the Fifth. So, and this is not an original point, Caroline. Many, top lawyers came out last night and they said, I don't think the Bidens thought this one through very well. Because now, and again, I underline the word if Trump wants to break Hunter, if Kash Patel wants to break Hunter, he can break him. Subpoena his ass, and if he complies, great, you're going to get a lot of information, which is going to be devastating. Or he doesn't, and that means that's obstruction of justice. And he's going to go to jail, and there's no getting around it. So that's why everybody's so excited about Kash Patel, because honestly, if there's one man that is serious enough, committed enough, who's got the convictions, the guts to go after the Bidens and go after the deep state, it's Kash. I can't think, honestly, of a better... I wanted Kash Patel as FBI director for weeks. I kept saying over and over again, I just want Kash Patel. I'm willing to compromise on every other pick. Give me Kash Patel. Well, not only do I have an outstanding cabinet, he topped it off with Kash Patel. So, Caroline, they're not out of the woods. They think they're out of the woods. They're not out of the woods. The ball is now in Trump's court. And according to the statement that he issued this morning, actually, he's disgusted by this. And think about it from his point of view. You wanted to send me to prison for 500 years? On bookkeeping charges? Literally on made-up crimes? And this guy is convicted? Crime after crime? And there are much larger crimes that he's gotten away with? And you just give him this brazen blanket pardon? All the way back to January 1st, 2014? So you guys can cover all of your corrupt dealings? You know, as Giuliani said, the reason why he pardoned Hunter and the reason why he took it all the way back to January 1st, 2014 is because we have it on the laptop, on the hard drive. Hunter admits on the hard drive, half of the millions and millions and millions he brought in went straight to his dad. Joe Biden didn't pardon Hunter. He really pardoned himself. And you're completely right, Caroline. Hunter's the weak link. You see, when you bring down a mafia don, and I was talking about this with Mike off air, I said, Mike, you never get the mafia don. It's almost impossible. But the way to get to the mafia don is through his lieutenant. If you can flip the lieutenant, then you can have access and get the mafia don. Hunter is Joe Biden's lieutenant. As you put it, the right-hand man. He knows all the bodies, all the skeletons in the closet. He knows about China. He knows about Ukraine. He knows about Kazakhstan. He knows about Russia. He knows about the drugs. He knows everything. Everything. And to show you how unhinged this guy is, this lunatic, this crackhead, has been threatening to write a tell-all book for years. Because I think deep down he doesn't trust his own father. And he held this book deal like the sword of Damocles over Joe Biden's head. Basically, hey, look, Dad, either you give me, I'm not going to jail for you, man. Either you give me a blanket pardon, or I'm going to write a tell-all book. And so the old man apparently said, okay, you got a blanket pardon. So this is how filthy, dirty, corrupt, and disgusting this family is. It's a family of vipers, of snakes. And they think now they've gotten away with it. We'll see. I wouldn't bet on it if I were them, Caroline. I think Biden now was too cute by half. Remember, him going back to January 1st, 2014, that's what gave the game away. I'll tell you what, at 8:30, I'm going to read part of the pardon statement. I want everybody to hear it. He didn't just pardon the gun and the tax convictions. He deliberately, out of the blue, he just says, this pardon commences January 1st, 2014. You're like, what? Just what? For anything he did, may have done, you should see the way it's written, as well as the convictions in 2018. And he pled guilty, 2024. So he's making it as clear as he can. I'm protecting my son on Burisma, on money laundering, on bribery, on Ukraine, and on China. And that's why everybody's stunned at the way the pardon is written. They're like, this is basically an admission of guilt. It's as far as an admission of guilt as you can possibly go. And that's why Kash Patel is saying, I'm going to get him. And I'm saying, go Kash, go. Caroline, final word to you.
I say let's go get them. And I think in the long run, I guess this could be a positive for us because we could just, use them for information now. But I also just want to say about the J6ers, if you don't mind, yes, they definitely, day one, get signed in, Mr. President, and then turn around and sign their. But not only that, in the Salem witch trials back in the day when the people were freed after it was exposed that it was all just torture for innocent people, they actually paid those people gold sovereigns, either them or the people that were in their families, for their suffering. And really, these people deserve more than just being released. They just lost 4 years of their life. And these were about as American people can be. They showed up to express, their pride in America and that they felt that what was happening was wrong. And I just think that it's not just that they should be freed. I've heard that they were tortured. There are people that have committed suicide. They've been abused. I'm just hoping for something a little more than just
They deserve compensation. I completely agree with you, Caroline. They deserve massive compensation and a formal apology from the government. And that's another thing I want to go after Joe Biden on, Merrick Garland, and Christopher Wray. That's why I want Christopher Wray out and Kash Patel as his successor. Because Christopher Wray okayed and approved all of this. The deep state must pay for what they've done. More next.
I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there?
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead.
That was just a couple months ago. It's incredible. It's just the way they lie to our faces. It's just unbelievable. 8:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Okay. Liberals, I swear to you, are celebrating, saying that good for you, Joe, good for you. Hunter deserved a pardon. So, liberals, many of the Democrats in the media are saying it was a great move on the part of Biden. I want to ask you, should Joey have pardoned his son Hunter, even though dozens, if not hundreds of times he vowed repeatedly, in public, in private, it didn't matter, he was not going to pardon his son. And in the end, he pardoned his criminal, degenerate son. Good move, bad move. Mark in Medford. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I hope you and your family had a wonderful Thanksgiving, sir.
I did. And how about you, Mark? Did you guys have a nice Thanksgiving?
I'm still eating the food. Not much left, but there's some left. I may receive the food. Jeff, everybody's been saying the exact same thing I want to say, so I'm going to make it short and sweet, okay? I'm going to say, on January 20th, as soon as Trump takes his hand off that Bible and then makes his speech, at the end of his speech, he should make an announcement that I have in my breast pocket a full blanket pardon for every single January 6th protester. And furthermore, I am going to get in the beast. I am going to drive to the Gulag and hand deliver it myself and tell them that they have until midnight for every single one of them to be out of that building.
Oh, Mark, that's my dream. Seriously. I think that would be such a beautiful, powerful moment. It would shock Washington and the deep state to its core, but that's what we want. And I think it would electrify the country. Mark, I've got to ask you, are you shocked? Are you surprised that Biden did this? And not maybe even so much that he pardoned his son, but that he would go all in, blanket pardon, all the way back to January 1st, 2014. In other words, Mark, that he would make it so obvious that he's covering up for Burisma and Ukraine and the money laundering and the bribery and the influence peddling and China and in other words, I did it, we did it, ha 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 ha, but now there's nothing you can do about it. Are you shocked that he went that far?
Well, Jeff, are we shocked about anything Biden has done over the last 4 years? And no, I am not shocked, because we all knew, including yourself, that he was lying out of his ass, okay? We all knew that. But I didn't think he would go to this extent, but he did. 10 years of crimes, Jeff, okay, that he has committed, that possibly committed, that he may have thought about committing, he is exonerated from. And you know what, Jeff? Trump also posted on Truth Social yesterday, the way you pardoned your son yesterday is the way you should pardon the January 6th protesters. But we all know he's not going to do that. So like I said, Jeff, come January 20th, as soon as that hands off the Bible, right to the gulag.
Amen. Drop the mic. Honestly, Mark, drop the mic. Mark, thank you very much for that call. What do I say? Best audience in the business. Jeff, why do you keep repeating yourself? You're like a broken record. It's the truth. I don't know what else to tell you. Mike, who do you want me to go to next on the board, Mike? Pat in Londonderry. Thanks for holding, Pat, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Pat.
I don't think that Biden should have pardoned his son, but I forgot the point I was going to make. God, my head just went blank. I wanted to say that how can he pardon people on the Epstein list? They haven't been accused of anything. I mean, if he does it, he's admitting that they did something wrong. So how are they going to do that without? That's in effect releasing the list, isn't it? I mean, I'm all for them releasing this
that's
list.
the thing. No, you're right. No, look, Pat, this is the problem now they're in. Okay, this is why people are extremely uneasy about this pardon. First of all, it's unprecedented that a father would pardon his own criminal son. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Pat. This is the stuff of it's the true stuff of third world banana republics. Like, this is like an Eastern European dictatorship. I'm not kidding. Or some Latin American, military junta. I mean, it's like, the criminal degenerate son. Oh, El Presidente pardons the son. So just that alone is really disgusting and sleazy. But it's how vague the pardon is. I'm going to read it now after the break. You got to hear it. I've never seen a pardon like this. Usually you pardon someone for a specific crime, specific conviction, specific felony. This, basically, everything my son ever did in the last 10 years. Everything. Anything you could imagine. Anything, as Mark said, he thought about a crime. He did the crime. He planned the crime. He was going to do the crime. I'm pardoning. Now, if he starts to try to do that to those who are on Epstein's island, on the Epstein list, he's going to have a massive, massive political legal war on his hands. And that's why Trump's got to tell him, knock it off. 8:32 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from Mike Davis, a highly respected lawyer. Was on the short list to actually be Trump's next attorney general. Many people were advocating for Davis. He would have been a great pick. Pam Bondi's also a phenomenal pick. But this is what he said, and that's what I mean when I say, trust me, I'm not the only one saying this. Here's what Mike Davis said on X. If Biden pardons someone, like, say, Hunter or Jack Smith, they can no longer invoke the Fifth Amendment's right against self-incrimination to avoid testifying before Congress or grand juries. If those pardoned refuse to testify, i.e. Hunter, they can face new charges for criminal contempt. So again, if Kash Patel wants to nail him, and if Trump gives the order to Mike Johnson and to Thune, no, you guys are going to investigate Burisma in Ukraine and all that money laundering and all that corruption and bribery. Because remember, billions of American dollars have just disappeared in Ukraine. We have a right to know how the hell did all this happen and who benefited, both there and here. Who got the kickbacks here in Washington? I mean, this is one of the biggest stories in the world. They can call up Hunter, subpoena him, and now that he's been pardoned, he can't invoke the fifth. He's got to show up. And either he spills the beans, or he's held in contempt. And that means he's going to go to jail. So he's not out of the woods. Far from it. Now, he gives, just very quickly, okay, I want to read to you parts of the pardon. First, he gives an explanation, and it's a pathetic explanation, that my son was unfairly targeted by Biden's own Justice Department. And this was selective prosecution, and they were out to get my son for political reasons. When, in fact, as everybody knows, the Justice Department protected Hunter every step of the way. That's why they gave him this incredible sweetheart plea deal that no other person on the planet would get. And if it wasn't for the judge in Delaware, it would have covered not all past crimes, but also all future crimes. That's how insane the sweetheart plea deal was, okay? But let that go. Now, this is what gives the game away. Now, this is the pardon. Robert Hunter Biden, underneath it, a full and unconditional pardon. Now, just listen. You got to listen to this, because this, right away, something is wrong. For those offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in, here it comes, during the period from January 1, 2014 through December 1, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted, including any that have resulted in convictions, that's the gun and the tax charges, by special counsel David C. Weiss. Then he gives the docket numbers, and he says this happened in the District of Delaware and in the District of California. And then the rest literally is blah, blah, blah. In testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the pardon to be recorded with the Department of Justice. And, and that's it. That's the pardon. I literally just gave you the pardon. Now, right away, was it, well, hold on. No. The gun felony was 2018. The tax evasion was 2016 to 2019. What's this January 1st, 2014? Well, I want to thank Sally Ann. This is what Sally Ann sent me, and as an example, as a post on X. Joe Biden is guilty of everything he's been accused of. Sorry, forgive me. Hunter Biden is guilty of everything he's been accused of, as is his father, Joe Biden. Hunter Biden is the linchpin in Joe's corrupt dealings with Ukraine. And that's why his pardon was backdated to 2014. Bingo. Bingo. Now you're like, oh, that's why it's January 1st, 2014. That's why it was backdated that far back. That's 10 years worth of crimes, my friends. That's a lot of crimes. That's a long time. And that's now, they've given the whole game, they've given it away now. So, was Joe Biden corrupt? You better believe it. Was he up to his eyeballs in Ukrainian money? You better believe it. Was he involved in a massive bribery influence peddling scheme, selling out our government positions selling out the national interest for him and his family to line their pockets? No doubt about it. You better believe it. And was Hunter the bagman? You better believe it. As as you would say, read the pardon, read it and weep. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask you, now that we know exactly what the pardon is, and frankly how corrupt it is, what do you make now of the pardon itself? And what will be Joe Biden's legacy? Will he now go down in history as the most corrupt, treasonous, worst president we ever had? I say yes. What say you? 617-266-6868 is the number. And by the way, this takes care of everything. The child pornography on the laptop, the Russian prostitutes, $10,000 a pop that Hunter was banging, the videos of him snorting cocaine off the rear ends of prostitutes, the sex trafficking, it's all pardon now. The cocaine, dealing cocaine, the whole bit. It's all pardon now. It's all wiped clean. 617-266-6868. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Rick in Lowell. Thanks for holding, Rick, and welcome.
Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Rick?
Yes, sir. Long-time listener. Hey, I got something I want to share with you. Well, all your listeners. I know that you are aware of it, Jeff. You were talking about, the new cabinet taking shape and Kash Patel, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I want to share with everyone that Kash Patel wrote a book called Government Gangsters, and it's out on video, and you can stream it, or as I did, I got the DVD and I watched it last week. It's about 90 minutes, and it goes into all the deep state government gangsters one by one, and it identifies all their crimes, all their corruption. And Kash Patel is the orator. He describes it all. And so he knows where all the bodies are buried. And as FBI director, he knows what stones to look under and to pull these rats out from under. A comment about the new cabinet taking shape. So you mentioned Attorney General Bondi. We talked about Patel as FBI director. John Ratcliffe is CIA director. And Tulsi Gabbard is the Defense National Intelligence Director. But there's one more that I've been reading about a lot. Although they probably may not be able to get Gates nominated, he withdrew his nomination. I've been reading a lot that he might be appointed as a special counsel. Trump may, and when the time is right, when he takes office, he may designate Matt Gaetz as a special counsel, like the two special counsels that have gone on after him for the past 10 or 12 years.
That's right, like Robert Mueller.
Yes, exactly. And also that other guy, Jack Smith.
That's right.
Yeah. And so this team that I just described, Attorney General, FBI, CIA, Special Counsel, DNI, they are going to wreck the deep state. And the details are spelled out in Government Gangsters. You can stream it online, you can read the book, or you can get the DVD.
Oh, it's devastating. No, listen, I can't thank you enough, because I'm telling everybody, read the book, look at the video, watch it. I don't care how you do it. That's why Kash Patel is the perfect pick to be the next FBI director. And this is a declaration of war. You know, you mentioned it all. Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe at CIA, Bondi as Attorney General, Gates as Special Counsel, and now Patel as FBI head. It's a declaration of war against the deep state. 850 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare. 617-266-6868 is the number. All right. This is what James, God bless him, emailed me. Jeff, Hunter Biden's new book title. Do the crime, get no time. Oh, the libs will buy that one. That would be a bestseller, believe me. And many of you are right. You've been texting the Kuhner man all morning and saying, Jeff, you got to read Trump's statement on the pardon. And this is what Trump said on Truth Social. Quote, here's exactly what Donald Trump said about the pardon of Hunter Biden by Joey. Quote, does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the J6 hostages who have now been imprisoned for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. And I think it's obvious. I mean, you may disagree with me. I'm just calling it the way I see it. I think he's now clearly signaling and telegraphing that pardons are coming. Mass pardons are coming for the J6ers. I mean, I think he's making it pretty obvious now. Yeah, you know what, Joe? Wink, wink. You've actually made it a lot easier for me now to do a huge blanket pardon for most of the J6ers, if not all of them. So I hope Trump follows through on this. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just very quickly, I got a really good email from Marcy. And Marcy wrote to me, and I'm going to read it because I think she captures a lot of the people in MAGA right now. Jeff, I hope you and your family had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Well, thank you, Marcy. I got some much needed rest and sleep and ate a lot of turkey. So yeah, it was a wonderful break. She continues, I am not convinced that Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, or some of the others will be confirmed. There are too many rhinos in the Republican Party, and all of the Democrats are determined not to confirm any of them. Now, that's my fear as well. That is my fear. And you take Kash Patel. Every Democrat has now come out and said, over our dead bodies, are we going to vote to confirm this guy? And you've already got South Dakota Republican, Senator Mike Rounds. He's already getting weak at the knees. He's already shaking. Going out over the weekend saying, Christopher Wray's a good FBI director. We don't need to get rid of him. I'm sick and tired of these rhinos sabotaging Trump and his agenda. And so here's what we're going to have to do, Kuhner Country. This is going to happen next year. Nothing happens until next year. We're going to have to get ready to, as Trump would say, fight like hell. And to make sure that every single one of them gets confirmed. And honestly, it's time to start sending emails and phone calls to Mike Rounds and others at South Dakota. South Dakota is a very red state. South Dakota voted for Trump 63%. Someone needs to tell Mike Rounds, you know what, we're tired of these games. Now, either you confirm Kash Patel, or we're going to primary you in 2026. He's up for re-election in 2026. We will primary you and destroy you politically if you go up against Kash Patel. And the absurd argument that the deep state is trying to make, and the Democrats and the media, and you can see it now, some of these rhinos are trying to float this as well, is that somehow Kash Patel is not qualified to be FBI director. In fact, listen now to Andrew McCabe, that snake who got a gig on CNN. That was Comey's deputy director. Framed Trump on the Russia collusion hoax. Literally framed him as an agent of Russia, and then ordered that he be illegally spied on, both his campaign and his president. This is now McCabe on CNN. Roll cut 5, Mike.
It's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI? The installation, or the nomination, I guess we should say at this point, of Kash Patel as FBI director can only possibly be a plan to disrupt, to dismantle, to distract the FBI, and to possibly use it as a tool for the president's political agenda.
I mean, unbelievable. I'm serious, really, unbelievable. Number one, what were your qualifications? Seriously. What were you're a dirty FBI agent. What the hell were your qualifications? And what did you and Comey do? You literally turned the FBI into the political branch for the Democratic Party to go after their political enemies, Trump being public enemy number one. And you're going to lecture us? Now, as for Kash Patel, I mean, this is ridiculous. Kash Patel is not qualified? Really? So, he was the chief of staff, the top aide, to the House Permanent Select Committee with Devin Nunes. He was chief of staff in the Pentagon. He was deputy director of the DNI. This is a man who has CIA experience. He has national security experience. He has DNI experience. He has congressional experience. And by the way, he has tried over 60 cases, jury cases, as a prosecutor. That is infinitely more than Kamala Harris ever tried. He is a brilliant, successful prosecutor and attorney. Now, if Kamala Harris is qualified to be vice president, then don't tell me Kash Patel is not qualified to be the next director of the FBI. No, what you don't like about Kash Patel, come on, let's put our cards on the table, as the Germans would say. He's not one of you. He's not of the deep state, by the deep state, for the deep state. Forgive me, he's not a whore. He's not a dirty FBI agent or deep stater. And I want to play the cut one more time of Kash Patel. This is him. He's just shooting the breeze. He's being interviewed. And he said, look, really, if I'm going to be the next FBI director, he goes, I'm telling you, this is what I would do on day one. This is what needs to be done. And that's why McCabe now is panicking. They're all panicking. Roll cut 3 one more time, Mike, please.
The biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
Now you tell me, is anything he said wrong or false? Why do we need 7,000 FBI agents? Think of that. That's an army. 7,000 FBI agents in Washington, D.C. Why aren't you in, let's take Mike Rounds. Why aren't you in South Dakota? What's the matter? There's no fentanyl in South Dakota? No? So why don't you go after real criminals, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, human sex traffickers, fentanyl traffickers? Get out of Washington. It's become as a shock. Get out of the bubble, get out of the swamp, and go to the hinterland, go to the States, and start doing your job. Whoa, whoa, Jeff, whoa, he's a radical, Jeff. We can't have this, Jeff. This isn't, no, Jeff. What do you mean? Do their jobs? Nobody's supposed to do their job in Washington. Jeff, what are you talking about now? And he's completely right. The intelligence community within the FBI, that's the most dangerous and nefarious. That's the cancer. Those are the ones that spied on Trump. Those are the ones that spied on him as president. Those are the ones who fabricated the Russia collusion hoax that Trump was an agent of Putin. That came straight from the FBI. They're the ones, by the way, dirty FBI agents. Remember who signed that false application to FISA to spy on Carter Page? That came straight from the FBI, baby. It was the FBI that lied about Hunter Biden's laptop being, as the Russians would put it, misinformatio. A Russian misinformation game. They're the ones who lied about that. It's the FBI that infiltrated January 6th. And it was agents who were urging them to storm and breach the Capitol. That all came from the corrupt FBI. So yeah, you need to overhaul it, reform it, fire a lot of these dirty agents, and the good agents, go and do your job. Your job is not there to be the secret police for the Democratic Party. Your job is to go catch actual real criminals. And that's what Kash Patel says he will do. And that's why they are panicking, full-blown panic. And let me just say one other thing. You know, Kash Patel is the perfect pick when John Bolton is against him, when Bill Kristol is against him, when Michael Steele is against him, all of these rhinos, all of these neocons and warhawks and deep staters, and every single Democrat on Capitol Hill is against him. Bill Barr, Mr. Porterhouse Steak, okay, even Porterhouse Steak, now has come out and said, never allow Kash Patel to be the next FBI director. In Trump's first term, Trump suggested to Bill Barr, once Bill Barr became Attorney General, you know, I got a lot of problems with the FBI. They're always out to try to undermine me, sabotage me. I need a guy like Kash Patel to be deputy director of the FBI. This was in Trump's first term. Bill Barr's response, quote, over my dead body, unquote. Porterhouse Steak didn't want Kash Patel to be the number 2 at the FBI, never mind the number 1. You know why? Because unlike Bill Barr, who was all bark and no bite, all steak, okay? I mean, you know, usually the expression is all sizzle and no steak. No. This guy was all steak. All this guy did was throw a steak down his throat. Okay, by 5 o'clock, he's outside that building and he's having his steak with a couple of bottles of Beaujolais. He feared Kash Patel because unlike Bill Barr, Kash Patel is the real deal. So, as I said on X yesterday, you know it's the perfect pick. All of our enemies are against him. If all of our enemies are against him, he's the perfect guy for the job because he will actually clean house. Listen now to Senator Ted Cruz, who I think hit the nail right on the head. The media are already gunning for Kash Patel. They're trying to claim he's not qualified. He's Trump's henchman. He's his hatchet guy. He's going to be involved in a political vendetta and retribution against all of Trump's enemies. He's going to go after Hillary Clinton. He's going to go after the Bidens. He's going to go after Comey, McCabe, Strzok, all of them. We can't have that happen. Listen to Ted Cruz. Roll cut 4 Mike.
I think Kash Patel is going to be confirmed by the Senate. You look at his background. He has a serious professional background. He was a prosecutor. He was a public defender. He was a senior intelligence staffer on Capitol Hill. He was a senior intelligence staffer in the White House. He was the chief of staff of the Department of Defense. He was the deputy director of national intelligence. And I got to say, all of the weeping and gnashing of teeth, all of the people pulling their hair out are exactly the people who are dismayed about having a real reformer come into the FBI and clean out the corrupted partisans who sadly have burrowed into senior career positions at the FBI. The FBI and the Department of Justice are two institutions incredibly important to the rule of law in the United States. I revere both, and one of the most tragic consequences of 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is both DOJ and the FBI have been politicized and weaponized, and I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee to take on the partisan corruption in the FBI.
Look, I'll go even further. Not only do I agree with Ted Cruz, as I like to say, 100, not 100%, 1,000%. I would go even further. If Kash Patel says, I want to completely dismantle and destroy the FBI, I'm with you. Honestly, I think it's that corrupt. It's that rotten. It's been that compromised. Nobody trusts the FBI. It has no credibility whatsoever. It has become a cesspool of partisan rabid Democrats and anti-Trumpers who have destroyed the rule of law and engaged in one of the most despicable witch hunts in the history of the United States. To me, shut the bill or turn it into a museum. I don't care. A museum of the deep state. I don't care. If you have to rebuild it and call it something else, fine. But most FBI agents now need to be retired or fired. Some need to be held accountable and go to jail because they're dirty agents who committed multiple crimes. And the good agents need to be put into the field and go after actual criminals. But, you know, for most of our history, we survived without the FBI. This idea that we need a national police force, I'll be honest with you, what's wrong with state and local police? That's how the Constitution intended it. So, you know, the FBI, almost from its beginning, from its inception, you know, J. Edgar Hoover on, full of abuses, full of illegal activity, spying, surveillance, being weaponized against political parties, usually Republicans and conservatives, again and again and again. To me, I'll be honest, if they want to destroy the entire FBI and get rid of it, abolish it, you're not going to get an argument out of Jeff Kuhner. But at a minimum, it needs to be reformed, it needs to be cleaned out, and it needs to be rebuilt. And I believe Kash Patel is the right man for the right moment. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike, who do you want me to go to next, my friend? Jack in Tewksbury. Thanks for holding, Jack, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I'm glad you had a great Thanksgiving. Boy, you know, it's funny when you're on hold, you go so far down the rabbit holes that your first original comment that you want to talk about was I was going to talk about Hunter's possible book.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Jack.
The well's dried up, Jeff. There's no more money coming into the Bidens anymore because they don't know how to make money. They know how to steal money, but now there's no more money to steal because Uncle Joey is leaving the office, and they have no political power whatsoever. And the crazy thing is when Joey disappears and fades off into the sunset, they are going to be vultures, and we know how Hunter feels about Jill because that's well known. You know, by those famous words he's used. When you're talking about Kash Patel and somebody else, one of the woman who emailed you said it well. Jeff, we have people. The rot is deep in Congress, in the Senate. It's deep. Getting these guys in they're the perfect people. That's the problem. They're the perfect people to fix the problems we have. But we have too much rot, Jeff. These senators, with this private fund they use to hide all their just disgusting behavior and paying out hush funds. We don't know who knows what, but we know they know the dirt on each other. And it's always a conversation. Geez, it'd be a real shame, Senator, if your family found out what you were doing with those women on that weekend, what you're doing with those girls, what you're doing with those boys, and because you know the ones they have dirt on are the ones that come out first and start speaking.
Well, Jack, look, you're right. I mean, that's why it's going to be tough to get all of them confirmed. But we have to use whatever weapons we have. And our biggest weapon is our popularity and our mandate. And I think many of these senators need to be reminded, you want to stand in our way and stop someone, I'm just going to use Kash Patel as an example, then we are going to primary you. It's going to cost you your career. So think twice before you go down that road. So all I'm saying is we're going to have to do everything we can. We're going to have to fight like hell to lobby and push and advocate so that Trump gets the team that he wants and that he deserves. 9:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. Hunter Biden now pardoned by Joe Biden yesterday. It's a full blanket pardon for any crime he may have committed, did commit, was thinking of commit. I've never seen a pardon statement written like this. Backdated, going all the way back, January 1st, 2014. And if that, you said 2014, Jeff, isn't that when Hunter then got on the board of Burisma? Yep. Just a couple weeks before he got on the board. What a Shazam, baby. What a coincidence. Now, I just want to ask all of you, what do you make of the pardon? Are you shocked that it's so in our face? That it's so brazen, so blatant, so naked that they're just covering up all of their crimes. This is no longer about pardoning him on these gun charges or gun convictions and the tax evasion convictions, which he pled guilty to. No. This is about covering up Hunter's crimes, Joe Biden's crimes, the treason, the money laundering in Ukraine, the bribery, China, the influence peddling, the tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars that they raked in selling our country and our interests down the river. And will this be the end of Joe Biden's legacy? Not that he had much to begin with, but will this now permanently discredit and tarnish Joe Biden as the most corrupt, worst president we've ever had? To me, I think there's no question. There's no question. He's as dirty as mud. Okay, as I said to my wife last night, and I can't say this on the air, I got to clean it up. He's a piece of you-know-what. Okay, he's a piece of crap. Let me clean it up. Okay, he's a piece of, he's a POS. And on top of it, to do it, how many times he vowed he wouldn't do it? How many times he promised? How many times? I give you my word as a Biden. I wouldn't wipe my rear end with your word. That's what it's worth. Seriously. Okay? I wouldn't wipe my ass with your word. That's how bad it is. To me, this is a slap in the face to the country. It's a slap in the face to the institution of the presidency. And in all honesty, it is a slap in the face to I don't know how many countless people out there who say we're put behind bars, convicted of nonviolent drug crimes, and served years in prison. And this guy, with all of the crimes that Hunter committed, all of it caught on tape, right there on the laptop. And this guy will never spend a day in jail. I don't know about you, but this sticks in my craw. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? David in Salem. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, David.
I just want to mention that President Obama, Bush, and Clinton all made recessed appointments. Over 100 each one put recessed appointments in. So we don't have to really worry about Congress. Can go right around them. Anybody that wants to stop us, we just do a recessed appointment. The other thing is that how did Joe Biden do all this finagling of money under the nose of Obama? Yeah, my wife says to me, Obama is the big guy, not Biden. When Biden's laptop mentions the big guy, it makes more sense that it's Obama. Obama let this guy do all of this illegal stealing of money while he's in office. And what do you think?
Well, I think it's very perceptive. I think it's a very perceptive point by you and your wife. I would just phrase it slightly differently. I think Obama is the ultimate big guy. Clearly in Hunter's world, the big guy, there's no question, the big guy is Joe. Remember, Hunter can't sell Obama. And that's what he did. He was selling influence. Hunter, there's no reason for anyone in the world to hire Hunter Biden. And I mean, I'm not trying to insult the guy. I'm just stating the facts. In his own memoir, this is Hunter now. I'm just talking about his own words. He says he was stoned all the time. He's either stoned or drunk or high all the time. All the time. And this went on for years. I got more to say. Don't touch that dial. 9:30 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, I want to go back to Dave in Salem, but just very, very quickly, Kuhnerman just wants to finish his point, and then take it right back to Dave about who the ultimate big guy really is. And it's clear in Hunter Biden's world, and again, remember, according to his own memoir, he was stoned, his words, not mine, every day, every night. He was snorting crack. He was snorting crack cocaine. He did every drug under the sun, to the point that he says he was so desperate for cocaine that he would snort what he thought was, thought was cocaine off the floor, but it actually turned out to be Parmesan cheese. I mean, this is the kind of life this guy led. Now, a guy like that, why are you paying him $80,000 a month? A month, not a year, a month, to sit on some energy board in Ukraine? A guy who knows nothing about energy, nothing about oil and natural gas, nothing about Ukraine, doesn't speak, I'm not kidding, doesn't know how to say hi or bye in Ukrainian. And you're going to put him on the board? Like, come on, how stupid do you think we are? He had one thing to sell, and that was access to the old man. That was access to Joey. And you say, well, why Ukraine, Jeff? Because Obama appointed Biden as the point man for Ukraine. So he, in a sense, made policy on Ukraine. Obama also appointed Biden as the point man on China. And that's why Hunter made huge deals with the communist Chinese regime and front companies. But again, why would the Chinese do any business with Hunter? He's useless. He's a crackhead. That's all he was. Well, to get access to the old man. Now, to go to your point, Dave, Obama took portfolios for himself. See, this is what we're starting to realize, and this is, I think, Kash Patel is going to really lay it out. We are no different than Russia. We're no different than many countries in Eastern Europe. We are run by political oligarchs. And in Eastern Europe or Russia or Ukraine, it doesn't matter, powerful families, political families, control and dominate politics. And they use politics to enrich themselves and attain unimaginable wealth. We're not even talking now about 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. That's peanuts. That's small potatoes. The Pelosi's, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bidens, the Romneys, the McConnells, the McCains, the Kerrys. I could go on and on and on. And so all you have to do is look at Barack Obama and how he and Michelle, Marxist Michelle, have made out like bandits since they left the White House. And you really realize their business is lining their pockets and that of their political acolytes and supporters. And so Obama is the richest of them all. Hillary Clinton is a close second. The Clintons are a close second. The Bidens, to be honest, I'm not defending Joe. Joe Biden was late to the game. And that's why privately he's going on about everybody's bashing me for my deals in Ukraine and China. Hey, I'm Trump change. You know, I'm not getting $100 million out of China the way McConnell and his wife is. I'm not bringing in billions and billions and billions as the Clintons are, as the Obamas are, as the Romneys are. The Bush family, another one. You want to talk about a political oligarch, a political mafia family. So all I'm just saying is this, Dave. Obama was clearly the ultimate big guy. And that's why you can see now, you haven't heard from him. He's not saying anything because he now realizes how far is Trump willing to go? That's now the question. Does he want to take them all out or just some of them out? And, you know, Obama is many things, but he's not stupid. And he's a political survivor. And that's why you're seeing him now much more in the shadows. And what Biden did was crude. It was naked. It was crude. It was blatant. He basically took a bullhorn with that pardon yesterday and said, we're guilty on Burisma. We're guilty on money laundering. We're guilty on Ukraine. We're guilty on China. We're guilty, guilty, guilty. And now what are you going to do about it? Nah, 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 nah. I even promised you again and again in public. And I had Karine Jean-Pierre again and again promise you in public. And I used the media to promise you in public I would never pardon my son. Blank you, I just pardoned my son. What are you going to do about it? So he's almost begging Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and congressional Republicans to go after him and his son. Now, Obama is much more slick. Obama would never do something like that. Obama is more sophisticated. Frankly, even the Clintons. I can't stand the Clintons. But there's a little more finesse to their game. This guy, honestly, he's like an old school Irish mobster. And he better be careful. He better be very careful. And that degenerate son of his better be very careful. Very careful. And look, the way to Biden is through, and I said this to Mike. I said, Mike, if you're a prosecutor, okay, you're Kash Patel, you're the head of the FBI. You want to bring down the political mob. We have a mob like we had in the 20s and 30s with Al Capone. but it's a political mob. It's a political mafia. How do you bring down this crime family? The weak spot is Hunter Biden. He knows everything. He's a drug addict, and he's petrified of going to jail. And we know for a fact, in private, he's yelled and screamed at Jill Biden, at Joe Biden, I'm not going to spend a day behind bars. Quote unquote, I'm not going to jail for I can't say the word, for the crap that you did. So he doesn't want to be the fall guy, and he said, I will not be the fall guy. The way to get to Biden is to go through Hunter. The way to get to Obama is to go through Biden. So if you want to go all the way to the top, you go through Hunter. Hunter takes you to Joey. Joey takes you to Obama. And then Obama takes you to the people above him. So the question now is, how far is Trump and Patel and Bondi and Gates and Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe at the CIA, how far are they willing to go? From the evidence that I'm reading, Trump is saying, burn it all down. I'm willing to go all the way. You went for my life. You wanted me behind bars. You went for my business. You went for my family. You sicked the FBI at Mar-a-Lago with guns drawn. You came after my throat, and you missed. Now I'm coming after your throat. Final word to you, Dave.
It's a big cabal. It really is.
Well, it's a big cabal where we now have people in positions of power for the first time in my entire life that have the ability, the guts, the courage, the will, and the determination to take them down. It's like Elliot Ness when he went after Al Capone. The pieces are now in place. The question now is, will they and can they do it? But Dave, long story short, the ultimate big guy, if you want the Al Capone of this, these mob families, it's Obama. There's no question. There's no question. You bring down Obama, they all fall. Dave, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Rich in Natick. Thanks for holding, Rich, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Rich.
It looks like Joey Biden had a busy holiday weekend. He had to pardon 3 turkeys. He could have saved himself a little trouble and just named the 2 turkeys Hunter and Biden. And it would have been a little easier. You know what I'm saying?
Rich, what do you make of this pardon, my friend?
Jeff, anybody who believed... Hey, stop. Anyone who believed Biden when he said he wasn't going to pardon his son is a low-information voter. I mean, come on, this guy is a pathological liar. And I can't wait till our people get in place and people need to be held accountable. Never mind all this, this talk. People that broke laws need to go to jail. I mean, otherwise, this stuff is just going to continue.
Oh, Rich, I agree. Look, I completely agree. No, to me, I think what is just offensive to everybody is, when someone keeps saying, Rich, no, I give you my word, Rich. Rich, my word as a Kuhner. My word as a Kuhner. I'll never do it. I'll never do it. And everybody around me, all my spokespeople, he'll never do it. He'll never do it. And then guess what? They do it. He's a liar. An incorrigible, pathological liar. No one will ever believe him again. And down the stretch we come. 9:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. JP in Saugus. Thanks for holding, JP, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing? I've only got a minute, but everyone gets their retribution when the Alzheimer's kicks in, and we can all go, yeah. Yes, he just slipped away. And I've got to run.
All right. Thank you, JP. So basically, Joey is going to be getting his very soon. That's what JP is saying. I hear you, JP. 617-266-6868. By the way, I'm starting to think a little bit it was an act. The way he's pulling out these pardons now, like, think how it sets him up. Imagine Kash Patel really tries to go after him. Can't you just see Joey now? What? I pardoned my son? What? I don't remember. I did? Really? Hunter? Who's Hunter? What's Hunter? I can see him doing the whole Vinny the Chin routine, where his mind is just gone. He can't remember anything. That's how he got out of being prosecuted for the mishandling the classified documents. If you remember, the special counsel said, he's this pathetic, pitiful guy with, serious mental cognitive decline. No jury would ever convict the guy. So he figured it worked for me before, it'll work for me again. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. So I think part of it now has always been an act. And in other words, what are they going to do? Prosecute me? I've got dementia. I'm Joey. 617-266-6868. Mike? David in Medford. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Yeah, do you hear me?
I can hear you, David. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Very good. Look this is very good. I'm not totally shocked that he pardoned his son. You knew that was coming. So let's let that all go. Right now, Trump's going to go in. We had someone up that said if the Senate gives us a problem, a confirmation, we do a reset appointment. Okay, that's all politics. That's like standard stuff. But these are the people I'd like to put in trouble. And I think that when Trump gets in, and whoever that person was for the Defense Department, I've got the name. But who?
I'm sorry, Trump's nominee for the Defense Department to be Secretary of Defense?
Yes.
Pete Hegseth.
Okay. Lily should be immediately reestablished back into the Army, court-martialed, demoted, lose his pension, and put in jail for he spoke. He literally spoke and said, I committed treason. The Army can do that, or the military. After that, it's going to be that lawyer, FBI lawyer that did the FISA court thing and erased something. He should be the next one because there's no pardon. Let him lose his license and do whatever else is going to happen through the court system. And then Lisa Page and Carter, whoever the hell it was, they should be in there and feel the wrath of Trump.
Look, I got to tell you, you're making excellent points. In fact, I'm thinking maybe we'll even do a show this week. Seriously, who would you like to see go behind bars? And it's almost like a buffet. I don't know where to begin. Millie, I agree with you. Call him back. Say, no, you take him out of retirement. You can do that and court-martial him. James Comey, I want him. Andrew McCabe, I want him. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, I want them. The guy I really want is Fauci. Everyone you want, I agree with you. Please don't get me wrong. But the guy I want most of all is Chicken Little. I want Chicken Little in the dock. That, to me, he's got to pay. He's got to pay. I want to go after Hunter. I want to go after the Bidens. Hillary Clinton on those emails. I want to get her on those emails. We don't have spies in China anymore. I want you to know the damage that she did to our country. She compromised our entire espionage team within communist China. We are blind in China. We're blind and deaf. All of our spies that we had, they got it off of her server, off of her emails, and that sacrificed our people. Every single one of them were either killed by the communist Chinese or thrown in a gulag. That was the cost of her utter criminal negligence and abuse of power. To me, I'm never going to forget what she did with that server and destroying those 33,000 emails. She literally compromised national security and got our people killed. So Brennan, Clapper. I mean, I could go on and on. It's like, you just keep going and going and going. So, in fact, that's maybe, Mike, this week with Sandy out, we can have a little bit of fun. And I'm thinking maybe let's do a show or at least a segment or an hour. Who would you like to see Trump put behind bars? But the numero uno on my list is without question Chicken Little Fauci. And on that happy note, I gotta go. Bye-bye.